great deal if it is actually to become a religion of peace. Islam cannot evolve unless Muslim authorities, both religious and secular, allow the freedoms we in the West take for granted. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of conscience. Of course, these freedoms go together with other basic principles which are absent in those countries. Equality before the law, civil and political rights, constitutional democracy, economic liberty, the separation of church or mosque and state. All these ideas emerged in the West because the Judeo-Christian tradition has always evolved in classical and medieval, Renaissance and Enlightenment periods, and it is still evolving today. As a Catholic, I must acknowledge that it is only in my lifetime that the Church adapted its teaching on the Jews from enemies to brothers. And in order to ensure that the 1.2 billion Catholics could see that the Church banished anti-Semitism in its practice as well as its preaching, successive popes have gone out of their way to reach out to Jewish people. How very different is the situation in Islam. Where Jews and Christians have allowed the reinterpretation of the Bible, Muslim scholars have insisted that the Quran, as the unmediated word of Allah, cannot be reinterpreted. Despite this rigidity, Islam did evolve in its early centuries, but since the medieval period, it has undergone successive waves of fundamentalism intended to restore the faith to its original purity and to impose it, if necessary by force, on the rest of the world. We are living through such a wave today, which includes the Wahhabi and Salafist branches of Sunni and the Iranian-inspired Shia Islam. The overall name we give to these movements is Islamism, or radical Islam. Rather than emphasize the earlier, more pacific elements in Muhammad's teaching, such as his Constitution of Medina, which granted equal rights to Jews, Christians and pagans, Islamists emphasize later doctrines, such as the division of the world into the Dar-ul-Islam and the Dar-ul-Harb, the House of Islam and the House of War. We are living, apparently, in the House of War. Or the draconian enforcement of Sharia law. Not content with the attempt to convert non-Muslims, Islamists stress the obligation to carry out jihad, understood to mean holy war, including terrorism. As we saw yesterday in Woolwich, or a few weeks ago in Boston, radical Islam is not only a threat in the Muslim world, but also here in our midst. It is, in fact, the most direct threat to Western civilization in the world today. It is not enough, it is not enough for Muslim apologists to point to statements of regret after terrorist attacks. They have to acknowledge the truth about their own past and present. The discrimination and cruelty towards non-Muslims